What's good, everyone? Oh my God, dog. Yo, this thing was so freaking exciting. Hey, man, welcome to the post-game show. The Calgary Dinos came down to take on the Ohio State Buckeyes. And oh my goodness, this was one of the craziest games that I've ever had to shoot. I'm telling you, man, this thing was insane. Calgary came here with some serious juice. Those guys can fly. They have some serious speed. Shane did all of the tweaking for this team. We asked him to do the tweaking before he sent the Dinos down, and he did all the tweaking for this team. And I got to tell you, he did a hell of a job because the Dinos were just too fast for the Buckeyes. Pound for pound, in terms of power, the two teams were relatively equal. In terms of power, they were both equal. As a matter of fact, Ohio State's offensive line was a lot stronger than the Dinos' defensive line. But it didn't make a difference because the Dinos had the skills in the places that they needed, and the Dinos were just too fast. Once they got around the ends, around the corners, there was nothing the Buckeyes could do to keep up with their speed. Their speed is just phenomenal. So let's get into this thing, man. I'm not going to hold you guys here long. This is going to be a short post-game show. But as always, I'm the Aggie coach. And it's tradition for us to do a post-game show after each game to kind of tell you guys our thoughts and feelings on the game, tactics and so forth. And in this particular game, man, I have to say both teams throughout the first, especially in the first half, both teams were fairly even. And what I saw, the turning point in this game, was that failed two-point conversion. If the Buckeyes had made that two-point conversion there in the second quarter, if they had made that two-point conversion, this would have been a tied game. This game would have been in overtime. So the Buckeyes definitely had a chance to win this game. And guys, remember, I said this. The first team to make a mistake in this game will lose. And it came down to a two-point conversion. Failing to get a two-point conversion and having that field goal blocked almost was a turning point in this game. It's the one thing that kept the Buckeyes in this game, blocking that extra point early in the first quarter. And that's the one thing that kept the Buckeyes in the game. But you can't depend on that in a game like this. You have offense, the offense, and with the offensive speed that the Dinos came with. Andrew Buckley, the quarterback, just came to this thing with a lot of speed. Mercer Timmons is our offensive player of the game, number 20. He came away with this thing with 124 yards rushing. And he had and check this out. He had 104 yards rushing at the beginning of the third quarter. So the Buckeyes really stopped him from running the ball in the second quarter. In the second half, he didn't get much in the way of running the ball. But the Dinos came out and started spreading the ball around and passing the ball. And that completely changed everything because they were able to spread the Buckeyes defense around. Now, one of the problems that the Buckeyes team have right now, and this wasn't a problem in season 1, but for season 2, this has become a huge problem because the Buckeyes was a team that was a gift to us. Not making any excuses for the Buckeyes. They're a great team. But the Buckeyes was a gift to us. And so I didn't expand. I didn't do any recruiting for the Buckeyes. So I wasn't able to expand their depth chart. So when Taylor went down, when Ryan Taylor went down there in the fourth quarter, that big hit from Tanner Turnbull, that free safety from the Dinos, that big hit put him down, and it put him out for a quarter. And there wasn't, even a whole quarter left in the game. So the Buckeyes lost their quarterback, and that hurt a lot because I didn't really have enough figures. I didn't have a second string quarterback in line. The other thing that was a huge help for the Dinos in terms of leadership is, like, you look over here, you see those 4 coaches? That was a huge help for the Dino. Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, head coach. They were able to spread leadership around and stop the team from failing morale checks, and that prevented the team from getting rattled. And so they were not receiving penalties because they had that support. Whereas if you look at the Buckeyes side, the Buckeyes had one coach. And when the Buckeyes got in trouble and players started failing, it really started to hurt the team. And the team just didn't have the depth. They didn't have the depth chart to make the personnel changes. And that's what hurt. Whereas the Dinos did. The Dinos came here, I believe, with a 55-man squad. So they had enough players to absorb those losses. And whereas the Buckeyes didn't. So the Buckeyes just suffered. So I know one of the huge weaknesses that they have now is their depth chart. And that's something that we got to fix, especially going towards season 3. We need to get more players on that team so that when players do go down or when players do get rattled, those players can be switched out for other players so that we can keep the leadership up. But that's the end of our post-game show, man. It came down to a defensive player of the game, number 27, the outside linebacker, Thomas Spilitone. This guy was all over the field. He was in the backfield the whole game, bringing pressure, clogging things up, backing things up, making tackles in the backfield. Incredible team. Shane, you did a good job. I see the Dinos definitely causing some problems in the Fat 8. They have a tough schedule. They got to take on the Tar Heels. They got to take on the Aggies. They got to take on the Rattlers. They got to take on the Trojans. They got Notre Dame. They got South Carolina State. They have a tough schedule, and they started out with a tough team, and they got their first win. Congratulations to the Dinos. Congratulations to the Dinos coaching staff. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. They were well prepared. They were ready to play. Thank you, guys. Peace.